Welcome to the Dropping Gems con Muchos Colores podcast. I am your host, Arely Lagunas. This is an audio community where we own and share our stories as trailblazer moms, crafting a unique and meaningful work lifestyle, leading with passion, breaking barriers, and chasing bold dreams on our own terms. Celebrating our Latina motherhood voices to bring you genuine insights of the highs, the lows, and in-betweens of working moms from a first-gen Latina lens. We don't have to travel this journey alone. Let's get started.
We are thrilled today to have our special guest, Audrey, in our Dropping Gems con Muchos Colores podcast. Audrey is a confidence coach, confidence booster, helping women through faith, fitness, and mindset. Welcome you officially to our community.
Thank you so much for having me. It's truly such an honor because this audience is one that obviously, as being a member of it, being a mom, being Latina, I'm so passionate about it because we don't have enough women advocating for how to build your mindset, to build yourself up every single day instead of being, just kind of overwhelmed by the pressures of being a mom and the way our mothers and grandmothers did things. So I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you, Audrey. And I completely agree with you, which is part of the reason why I feel there is such a need. Like you said, there's not enough resources out there so that we can continue to build that community. But so glad that you are part of this because you are, in my opinion, someone that we can look into and see that it is possible. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
If you can please share with us your journey in becoming a confidence coach.
Of course. So for me, it started after I had my two boys. I had my first two back to back, and I found myself overweight, sad, not wanting to look in the mirror anymore. And with two boys under two, I found it pretty difficult to go to a gym, to find that time and not feel guilty about leaving the house to go to the gym for an hour every day. So I started to work out at home with the company Beachbody, and I started doing those home workouts, and they welcomed me into their community through a challenge group, which was led by my coach, and she held us accountable every day. And I thrived in that community. I was able to do the workout on my time from home with the kids running around me, and I loved that support of the women in my group. So I found that I was quickly losing the weight. And then during this time, I thought about becoming a coach myself because everyone was asking me how I was doing it. And it's like all of a sudden, I found myself again. I think that we lose ourselves a lot in the journey of motherhood, especially because we grew up thinking like, once you're a mother, that's it. That's your whole life. You as a woman, you're in the back burner. Ya tú no existe. You don't even, I wasn't even taking care of myself. I never wore lipstick. I always had my hair in a bun. And I came alive again when I started to take care of myself, and I started to pay it forward to other women. And as I was coaching other women, like that first year, I realized that I had a lot of women that quit. And not because I wasn't there for them or they didn't have what they needed, but because they didn't believe in themselves. And if you don't believe in yourself, you can have everything in front of you and you'll always be scared to follow through on the things that you want. And that's when I realized like these women don't need fitness coaching, they need mindset coaching.
Yes, you brought up great points. One of them was you mentioned that, there is such a big misconception about women and motherhood. I hear it all the time from my personal experience, where there's a misconception that once you become a mom, that's the end of your journey. And, there's nothing else that can happen, but it's actually quite the opposite as you probably also have experienced. And then the other part is you're absolutely right. It really starts with mindset, reframing your mindset and continuing to feed your mindset, right? Just kind of like a flower. And so it's so great that there are advocates like yourself that we can see every day and thanks to technology, we can get a lot of positive reinforcements and affirmations. I personally love watching your workout videos in the morning. It looks like you do them early in the morning. It's just such a great way to start. And so I just think that those are very, very good points that you mentioned about mindset and about this misconception that, becoming a mother means it's the end, but in reality is the opposite.
Yes. And also, if you think about the way we're raised, there's nothing after motherhood, right? So it's, get into a good school, get a good job, get married, get a house, have your kids, and then what? Like, we don't die once we become mothers. So that's why so many of us feel unfulfilled, because we were never taught to have goals past motherhood.
Exactly. Yeah. And unfortunately, with our Latino community, especially for those that have a background of maybe like a traditional family structure where men are known to be the breadwinners and women are known to be the housewives and stay-at-home wives. And that's it. When we come from Latino community with that mindset, like you said, we are not taught about goals afterwards, right? But
right.
That's the great thing about being able to be an advocate now, because we can talk about all the other things that we are unlearning and learning, right?
Yes.
And creating our own lane and creating our own goals and empowering other women to take their own initiatives and really do their own personal journey, because everyone's journey is personal. And there are a lot of resources out there now that such as yourself, you being a confidence coach, being an advocate and helping women through faith, fitness, and mindset is just so powerful. So thank you for sharing that journey of how you became a confidence coach. I'm curious to know what makes you inspired or to be your best self?
I think it probably goes back to my parents. So part of this journey is that our parents gave us so much good. But there's also things that we have to unlearn, like you just said. And the good is that really nobody works as hard as our parents. And if
Yes.
you look at I guess if you look at it like percentage wise, like a statistic, the growth, like for someone to come to this country where you don't know the language, you don't know anybody, and then to just start new and make something of yourself for yourself and your family, that's a huge scary thing that produced so much growth to the point that today it's like I always talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we've seen this quote go around the internet. I know I've seen it, but I've always thought of the things in this way. So when I see it, I'm like, yes, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, our parents were concerned with survival. And they've won for us the ability that our concern is for self-fulfillment and contribution.
Yes.
And for them to make such a huge leap of growth to give us this beautiful opportunity, that's incredible. So I always think to myself, like, this is what I actually say with our company, the Dream Lab, is that this is our version of the American dream. We are redefining what the American dream looks like for us because of this gift that our parents gave us of not being afraid to pursue a better life for themselves. So that inspires me, like this gap to close my potential, to see what I'm capable of.
Yes, I think you put it in a very well explanation. I do agree that our parents did a lot of undertaking coming to a new country and learning the culture and starting from scratch, right? Basically. And I know that their ultimate goal was to create a better life for their children and their children's kids, right? And at the same time, I feel that they also grew up very fast. I know my parents came to the US when they were teens, 14, 15. So I can just imagine how much growth that happened in that time and being away from their parents for a very long time. So I do agree, like you said, they undertook a lot of life events in their time, and it really shaped, their future, and also now us as kids. And I love what you said about what you share through the Dream Lab, that we are here to redefine what the American dream is, because it is very true. I do feel that our parents' priorities are different than ours. It's not wrong. It's just that's the way it happened, right? And now we're here to redefine and continue to honor their sacrifice to come to the U.S. and build a better life. Can you, to piggyback off of that, can you share your mission behind the Dream Lab?
Yes. So the Dream Lab, it seeks to answer that question that we talked about earlier, which I mentioned earlier, which is, as Latinas, we grow up and we have this checklist of what's expected from us, from our, Latino parents. And that's go to college, get good grades, graduate with honors, get married, buy the house, have the kids, and then that's it. You work for the rest of your life and then you retire in your 60s and that's it. But then we find that so many women in their probably late 20s, depending on if you have children early, and in their 30s especially, probably go to bed at night and feel like, is this it? Is this all my life is going to be? And Tony Robbins says that happiness is progress towards our goals. But if we're no longer setting goals, if we're not even taught to set goals after we have kids, like we said earlier, maybe we have them in our career, but is that a career we really chose? Because if you think about it, all of our life, someone else told us what to be, what to go after. And few of us, especially first generation Latinas, few of us ever were brave enough to think for ourselves. I mean, you have two things. Either you fell in line with what was expected of you because you're going to fulfill that daughter role, or you're going to rebel for all of the wrong reasons. So we have this generation of women, first and second generation, that are redefining who they are for ourselves. And the Dream Lab is a personal development incubator for Latinas by Latinas, in which we teach you this is how to reframe your mindset. This is how to grow in confidence. This is how to go after what you want. This is how to set up the proper boundaries so that you can create a peaceful inner environment to be able to do that. Because we all know that whatever we do, our parents or our family members, tíos and tías and cousins are going to be like, ay, pero ¿qué te estás haciendo?
Yeah.
So we need that support as we grow and as we go after what we want.
Yes, it is very true. I do think it's also important to know that sometimes our own family may not be as supportive, and sometimes they do it out of their own. I feel they do it out of kind of fear, right? Because they're trying to protect us, and other times they just really don't understand, the mission of a person's journey. But it is important that maybe our own family may not fully understand our journey, but we have communities like the Dream Lab that will help you in your process, in your journey. That's very awesome to have. I'm so happy that you are part of the Dream Lab, and I know that you're one of the founders, and I'm so glad that you're sharing that with our community, because it is important to have knowledge, right, on what is available, because as you mentioned, we as Latinas, we have to reframe our mindset and also get the tools to do that, right? Because it is a journey, and we'll probably have ups and downs, and we'll need resources. So thank you for sharing the mission behind the Dream Lab. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things I love about your content on Instagram is your morning workouts. And I love that, especially as a mom who has 3 children, it has been very challenging for me to also go to a gym to work out. And so what I love about your content is that you're doing your workouts at home. And so, there are moms who rather go to the gym, or there's moms who may want to do their workout at home. And so I love to see it that you're doing it at home, and sometimes your children join you or are part of your videos. So can you share with us a little bit more of your morning routine or night routine?
So my morning routine is sacred to me. I think it's Jim Rohn that said, it's either you run your day or your day runs you. So that means that we have to wake up and be intentional about how our day goes. And typically, I know that a lot of people kind of wake up just with the right amount of time to grab some coffee, get the kids ready, and go out the door. Well, if you do that, then that means that you're just spending the whole day reacting. You didn't have time for yourself to think about, how am I feeling today? How do I want to feel? What is my intention for the day? So when I realized that this was vital for me, I started to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And at first, I thought it was an ungodly hour. But what I did was that I looked at other successful people, people that I admired, and everyone was talking about how they wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I know that success leaves clues. So I thought to myself, okay, 5 o'clock in the morning it is. And even though I wanted to puke for the first couple of weeks, I actually think I did once. I set it a goal. And what I do in the morning is this: I wake up, and the first thing I do is that I pray. I read scripture. I connect with God. Then I do some personal development work, either an audio or a book that I keep right next to my bed that I could just pick up and start reading. I love Ryan Holiday. He's one of my favorites. He has so many good books and podcasts, and even a newsletter he puts out. And then I work out, because we are mind, body, and soul. I care about the whole woman. I feel like a lot of people set these career goals for themselves, or maybe just like a weight loss goal of like losing 10 to 15 pounds. And our faith is something that's kind of like on the back burner. I don't think that you can be a woman of complete integrity in her life unless you're taking care of these three areas. These are our foundation. And if one of them is suffering, the foundation of your house is going to suffer. So with so many things to do in the day, and at tops, this takes me like an hour, depending on how long my workout is, an hour and a half. So if you start off your morning with this, you're going to have confidence in yourself, because you will know that you took care of yourself, no matter what you can't get to in the rest of the day, because we all have like laundry that we leave in a basket to fold tomorrow. But if we're able to do these things to take care of ourselves every morning, that builds confidence. So if you're able to build confidence in yourself, thinking like, well, I'm able to accomplish those things, then when something else comes into your life that you need to work towards, you're already going to have the confidence to know that if you apply yourself consistently, you're going to be able to do that too. So
Yeah.
palm this house, you build everything else. And even in my toughest moments, I think, so these things are non-negotiable for me. I give myself a lot of grace with other things. Like, let's say that laundry that doesn't get done. I give myself grace for that, because I'm only one person and my mental health is above it all. But these three things, I don't negotiate with them. These are the things that I bring in discipline in every single day. Because during those hard moments in life, when someone gets sick or you're going through financial issues, relationship issues, we tend to hide and fall off and slack and like binge Netflix all day, right? These are the things that are going to keep you healthy. These are the things that are going to make sure that you keep growing through what you're going through.
No, it's very important what you said, placing a high value on our well-being, right? And in this case, for you, is having this discipline with your morning routine. I think it's very important because, yes, going back to the beginning of our conversation, talking about our mindset, and, along with that comes taking care of ourselves, right? In order for us to take care of our children, our family, we have to prioritize our well-being, and taking care of ourselves. And I think that is a great way to start your morning, is like you said, once you finish your morning habits, your routine, you will feel better and your day already starts on the right foot. That's a great way to see it, because to be honest with you, I'm more of a night person. I'm not a morning person. I tend to stay up later. That's just kind of the way I've been. So the mornings are tougher for me. And so I think that, regardless if you're a morning or night person, you can apply the same concept of mindset and discipline and modify it to your preference, right? Whether it's the morning or night. So definitely that's something that I'm going to try to do more, so that I can start off the day or finish the day off with the right foot.
Absolutely. Anytime that you take to yourself to reflect and set an intention, because then what you can do at the end of the day is look at yourself, how the day went, and are you proud of how you handled yourself? And if not, don't be critical, but what can you do better the next day? How can you continue to grow?
Exactly. And can you tell me a little bit of how you've been able to incorporate your fitness routine and do it along with being a mother? I recently saw a video where your child was right with you and he was being playful. Is he usually up at 5 a.m, or he's usually up later?
I wake him up. I do. I wake him up because I need that time for myself, and he'll play while I'm working out.
Okay.
I wake everybody up. Now, when
So
they're
everyone,
tired at the end of the day, yes, everyone has to wake up. So I love working out at home. I think that I can never be a gym person
Mhm,
because what it does is that I've seen how it sets an example for my children. And
mhm,
I'll tell you one story that always gets to me. My oldest, ever since he was 3 and in nursery school, his teacher told me that she could understand him and that I should have him evaluated for speech and occupational therapy. And he scored in the bottom 3% of his age group. And I was
okay.
so upset, but I put him in speech, I put him in occupational therapy. And there was one day that they were watching me work out in the morning, and I had a workout that had something like 88 burpees throughout the workout.
Okay.
And midway through, I was so tired and out of breath and just slow. And he said to me, Mommy, just quit. That's what I do when things get hard.
Oh.
I did such a gut check in that moment. And I turned around with tears in my eyes and I said, No,
Mhm,
when things get hard, we don't quit. When things get hard, we go harder. And I went right back to the burpees and I finished them like nothing.
mhm,
Like I was just sitting on the couch. And if I could teach them that, because we know our kids don't do as we say,
mhm.
they do what they watch us do. And
Yes.
I want them to always say, my mommy was strong. My mommy took care of herself. My mom made taking care of herself a priority. And that's how I grew up. And that's what I'm going to do too.
Yes, I think that's very important. It becomes a norm to them. I think that's something very good to share, is that by us taking care of ourselves, taking care of our wellness, just what you said, our kids learn more by action, right? Not, yes, we can speak to them all we want, but in reality, what really sticks to them the most is by watching us. And so if they see this in their daily lives, on a very normal basis and common basis, they'll see that taking care of yourself and your body is something natural. They won't even see it as, oh, I have to take care of, it's just going to come very natural to them. And that is very important, because I think in our communities or in our Latino households, what I have seen and in my experience is I never saw my mom resting. I
Mm-hmm.
never saw her taking care of herself, and she probably needed that. Most of our
Right.
families come from a big family, or even one child is a lot of work, and I never really saw that, right? And it's important for us to bring a little bit more awareness on how important wellness is, and that could be many things, right? Fitness is one of them, exercise is one of them, and it's a great story that you shared about your son and what he had in mind and how you were able to turn that around and teach him a life lesson that, like
Mm-hmm.
you said, when things go hard, we just go harder, and it's okay that we rest, but we don't quit, right? That's
Yes.
kind of like the goal that we want to teach to them.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite exercises to do at home?
Well, as you know, I started with Beachbody workouts, and I love them. I love the trainers in the company. It's workouts that got me through losing that weight. At first with the two boys, the two back-to-back pregnancies, and then my last pregnancy, um, I didn't even gain as much weight as I did with the first two because I was already making healthier choices for myself because of being with Beachbody. Even postpartum, one of them, Bar Blend, got me through. I had a little bit of, as we were pregnant, we have the ab separation. Some women, and this is a problem in this country, don't know about how you need to repair your pelvic floor after a pregnancy, and women suffer with core problems, diastasis recti, that goes undiagnosed. So Bar Blend was a program that helped me with that, just to get back to the way I used to be, because every pregnancy takes a bigger toll on the body than the last one.
And you had 2 C-sections, is that what I understand?
I had three C-sections.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. My first was failure to descend after, over a day in labor. So C-section there. Then my second was transverse, C-section there. And then in New York, at least, I don't know about other states, but legally, after you have 2 C-sections, you can't have a third, because then that's just too dangerous, for too much pressure on the scar on the uterus. So I had 3 C-sections.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you're using your exercises to help you also with some of those aftermaths that happen after having a surgery. C-section. I actually never had a C-section. All my 3 children were vaginal, so I wasn't even aware that could happen. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, even if it's not a C-section, there's so many like breathing we all need to work on our core after a pregnancy.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and there's so many breathing exercises and techniques that are so effective for the core, whether you're going to the gym or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. With what you have been doing in empowering other women and Latinas and moms, working in your mission behind the Dream Lab, working as a confidence coach, how do you cultivate a balance between motherhood and all your other endeavors that you have going on?
I think it's very important to set boundaries with your time.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very strict about my time in the day, and the morning is for me. Thankfully, my older boys are old enough to get themselves up, take a shower, get dressed while the baby plays around me. Drop them off in school, and that's work time for me. Then when I pick them up, and then it's family time again, dinner time, homework with them. And I've gotten to a point in my business where I don't work at night. When I first started, I used to have, a day job and then put the boys to bed, and then I would do calls and things like that at night. I have, the ability in my business now to not do it at night. So most of my work takes place during the day when the boys are in school.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And that takes a lot of discipline,
yes,
to be able to manage your time like that. And I know that a lot of people, when they're starting a business, they want to say yes to everything. You don't want to burn out either. It's just as important to learn to say no to opportunities as it is to say yes.
Yes. And I think sometimes this cultivating journey, it's a work in progress. Sometimes we have to modify it or figure out what works for our particular family. I know this is a question that I always get asked from a lot of moms, how are they cultivating a balance? And a lot of them say it's a work in progress. Some of them have found something that worked for them. And in your case, I think that you have found it, where you say, in the beginning, I used to work nights, but now, I do most of my work during the day when the kids are in school.
And I think it's also important to let go of the word balance. I don't believe balance exists. For example, we had our last conference in October, and I spoke to my kids. I'm like, mommy has this conference, so mommy's going to be really focused on it. And then it's a season in which you have to take most of your time and energy and allocate it towards there. But then if, let's say, God forbid, one of my kids is sick, then work has to be put on the back burner. And I have to tell my clients I need to reschedule. My kids come first, because that's why we have a business, to be able to be there with our family when we need to be. So it's just being really self-aware of where is my energy best used right now.
Yes. Yeah. I also like to call it work-life integration.
Yeah.
like you said. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And what are the things you enjoy most in motherhood?
So I have three boys, and I am a girly girl, but they are all about like fart jokes, just so many inappropriate things. And then they'll make a joke like that, and then they just start cracking up laughing. And just to watch them relate to each other. So I like,
Yeah,
I have three. So to watch like these little people that you created laughing with each other and playing with each other, and it's just so beautiful. And they're all in different stages. So Ashton is 11, so he's like a preteen now. So
mhm.
he's like really mature one moment, but then other moments it's like he's still cuddly, needs his mommy. Adrian is 9 and just so into Marvel and all of his little figures all over the house where he creates these scenes, like movie reenactments with them. And then Zane is my crazy little toddler. He's going around probably destroying the Christmas tree right now. Um, so it's just fun to see them at every age and everything that comes with that age.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because we all know time just goes by so quickly, and next thing you know, they're already into adulthood. So it's so
Yeah,
nice to enjoy those moments, uh, of their stages.
yeah.
It, is there anything in motherhood that you wish you knew before, or you learned, or you had a challenging time?
I think I'm being challenged the most right now by my 11-year-old. And it's because this is going to sound bad, but it's easy when they're little to lie to them. Like, oh, yeah, the park's closed. No, we can't go there right now. We all tell like those little white lies when something's inconvenient for us. But then all of a sudden now he's 11 and I can't lie to him about anything. And it's not, can we go to the park? It's deeper questions, more
Oh yeah.
personal questions. And it's all of a sudden like, wow, I have to have a mature conversation with my child instead of like, I know I'll always be the adult, and ultimately I have to tell him what's best for him.
Yes.
But it's like now he's looking to me to have a real conversation in depth and not my like surface answer because he's a child.
Yeah, no, I can completely relate to you. I have a 10-year-old, well, 10 and a half,
Mhm.
and I have been caught in a question where I'm like, wow, I got to get back to you. And, I have to
Yeah.
process, right? I have to process, how am I going to explain it to him in a way that he understands, in a way that is proper to his age, right?
Hmm.
And here I am trying to find resources on how I can answer it, right? Because as you
Yeah.
know, as a parent, we don't come with a manual, right?
No. And to like give them the dignity of a good answer,
Exactly.
not just kind of talk down to them because like, oh, you're 10 and a half or you're 11. What, uh,
Exactly.
it's so
Yes,
hard.
yes. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah. It's like we
Um,
could be really good moms to little kids, but then in this transition period into adulthood, into big kid, it's something else.
yes, yes. And we'll all work on it together, and we'll all learn together.
Hmm.
What habits, you talked a little bit more about confidence and how confidence shows up within you. Any other habits that you can share to our audience on how we as moms can become more confident?
I'm a big reader.
Mhm.
I will tell you that. I'm a big reader, and if I can't read, I'm always on Audible all the time or listening to a podcast. So the reason that's important to me is because it's always important to learn new things. And when I say that I read and listen to podcasts, it's podcasts like these that are educational, that are going to change my perspective. A lot of times, we don't need to make a mistake personally. We can listen to somebody else's experience to learn from there and to change how we look at things, to change how we see things, and be able to grow on our journeys. So it's important
Mhm.
to always be learning.
Yes.
It's we never reach a point in which we know everything and then that's it. We have
Mhm.
to always be humble enough to know that we do not know even a fraction of what we think we know or the information that's out there, and be coachable enough to always accept growth. And the way
Yes.
I do that is by always reading, always
Mhm.
having my mind open to new experiences and new lessons.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Yes, I think that is, so important to have that mindset of a continuous improvement mindset, right? The learning, like you said, I think we all can learn. It's almost like I feel like learning has no end, right? There's always something we can learn. And I love how you said that we can learn from other stories. I completely agree. That's part of the reason why I was motivated to start the podcast is I also began to listen to other stories and other moms, and there's so much power within that of
Mm-hmm.
sharing some of the challenges, the what we've overcome. There's so much power in listening to that and learning. There's so much learning from that too, because
Yeah.
then we're able to get gems from that, and it's just so powerful. I completely agree with you how we can learn just by hearing other stories and other challenges and how we're able to overcome them. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much. And we are very motivated to continue to hear about you and learn about your journey and learn about how you are empowering other Latina moms. If you can please share with us how the audience can follow you and learn more about you.
Of course. I'm on Instagram at Audrey.Robles, or you can follow my company at the Dream Lab. We have a podcast called the Dream Lab Series Podcast, where we go into the mindset of high achieving Latina women. And you'll see that they're all just like us, full of the same fears and
Yes.
experiences. And we go after things anyway, feeling the fear.
Yeah, so please feel free to follow Audrey. And Audrey, thank you so much for joining our audio community of podcast guests and dropping gems to our listeners. We're so thankful and grateful to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor.
Thanks for listening to the Dropping Gems con Muchos Colores podcast. We have a new episode every month. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave a review and subscribe so you don't miss a beat. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.